Ever since Shehbaz Sharif took over the helm of affairs in Pakistan, speculation has been rife over what this change of guard in Islamabad could mean for the neighborhood. Specifically, what will the Shehbaz Sharif era mean for ties between India and Pakistan? Tonight, we come to you with some answers that point towards what could be in store for the relationship between the two neighbors. There are reports of back-channel talks, and we at WION have accessed exclusive details. On Gravitas tonight, we discuss whether this will be a new chapter in the India-Pak relationship and if there is room for reconciliation. Also on the show for you tonight, it's a crucial week for the Rajapaksas. A meeting with the IMF could determine whether the country will be able to find its way out of the deepening economic crisis anytime soon. But the Rajapaksas continue to defy calls to step down. Emmanuel Macron's challenger Marine Le Pen is accused of fraud. We tell you what the charges are and decode what this means for the electoral battle. Trouble mounting for the Prime Minister of Israel. A coalition partner has threatened to quit. There is violence on the streets of Jerusalem. Iran has issued a stern warning to Israel. And China's Shanghai is dealing with a Wuhan virus surge. Nearly a month since the lockdown, now China reveals the casualty figures, but they are hard to believe. We tell you why. Over the weekend, New Delhi received a letter addressed to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Who was it from? His counterpart in Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif, Pakistan's new Prime Minister. This was his first communication to India since assuming power, and it came in response to a letter sent by Prime Minister Modi congratulating Shehbaz Sharif on his appointment as the Prime Minister. WION was one of the first channels to access Shehbaz Sharif's letter to the Indian Prime Minister. I have a copy with me tonight. Let me read out the most telling excerpts for you. The letter states, and I'm quoting, "I wish to convey that Pakistan remains committed to the maintenance of regional peace and security. We believe that peaceful and cooperative ties between Pakistan and India are imperative for the progress and socio-economic uplift of our people and for the region. This can be best achieved through meaningful engagement and peaceful resolution of all outstanding disputes, including the core issue of Jammu and Kashmir." Now, the question is, how should India view this letter? Is it a gesture of goodwill? Is Pakistan trying to be friends again? Or is this just a diplomatic formality? The answer, perhaps, is a mix of both. You see, every time there is a change of guard, either in Islamabad or in New Delhi, the new leaders exchange such greetings. This is a traditional norm. But this time, things appear to be slightly different. We will discuss that in just a bit. First, the story. Like I said, this letter from Shehbaz Sharif came in response to a communication by the Indian Prime Minister. Last Tuesday, which was the 12th of April, he had written to Shehbaz Sharif extending his well wishes for his tenure. He had said, and I'm quoting, "I extend greetings and best wishes on your assumption of charge as the Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. I would also like to convey that India remains committed to advancing peace, security and prosperity in the region. An environment free of terror and violence would allow us to focus our attention on the development and progress of our people." So both India and Pakistan have said what they wanted to. They have highlighted their issues, also vowed to maintain bilateral peace. The question is, what happens next? Where is the relationship between the two sides headed now? Let's tell you what we have learnt from our sources. They tell us the exchange of letters is just one aspect. The second one is back-channel discussions. They are currently underway. What are these discussions about? Apparently, to formalize a meeting between the two prime ministers. That's what sources tell us. They say Pakistan is looking for a date with Prime Minister Modi. If this is true, the meeting could happen at the SCO summit in Tashkent, which is scheduled for the 17th of July 2022. Both the prime ministers are expected to attend this summit. They will be under the same roof. Sources say a one-on-one meeting remains a possibility. They have further added that if the Tashkent bilateral is successful, Prime Minister Modi could be invited to visit the Qatas Raj temples in Pakistan, which would become an occasion for Shehbaz Sharif to host Prime Minister Modi in Islamabad. Remember, the Qatas Raj is a complex of several Hindu temples connected to one another by walkways. They play a major role in the Hindu epic, the Mahabharata. They are located in the Patohar Plateau region of Pakistan's Punjab province. Sources also point towards the possibility of a full restoration of diplomatic ties, a return to normalcy at diplomatic missions, both at the ends of New Delhi and Islamabad. Remember, Pakistan's current diplomatic mission in New Delhi works at 50% in terms of the number of staffers. It is headed by a charge d'affaires. There is no high commissioner. Sources say in the days ahead, this could change. There is no official confirmation, let me remind you here, if things are indeed headed this way. And even if they are, there will be challenges subject to how the dynamics change in Pakistan. The country is facing a lot of uncertainties. Shehbaz Sharif may be in power, but no one knows how long he will be able to hold on to office. Imran Khan is trying his best to push the country into snap polls. Plus, there are a lot of uncertainties on the Pakistan Army's end as well. The Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa's term is due to end this November. No one knows if he will get another extension or whether he will retire. No one even knows if the generals are in favor of talks with India. So a lot depends on where the Pakistan Army stands on this. But if we go by history, the Sharifs have on numerous occasions tried to build positive relations with India. In fact, their family was based in a village near Amritsar before the partition of India. In 2013, Shehbaz Sharif paid a visit to his ancestral village. He held meetings with the state's then Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal. He also met the then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and called for peaceful dialogue between the two countries. And then in 2015, Prime Minister Modi made a surprise visit to Lahore. He went there on the invitation of Nawaz Sharif, Shehbaz Sharif's elder brother, and the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. He invited Prime Minister Modi to attend his granddaughter's wedding. The Prime Minister complied. He paid a sudden and short visit to the WION Palace in Jati Umrah, the ancestral residence of the Sharif family. But despite these positive indicators, the relations went downhill post-2016, courtesy renewed tensions in Kashmir and repeated terror attacks by Pakistan, like the 2016 Pathankot attack, the 2016 Uri attack, the 2017 Amarnath Yatra attack, and the 2019 Pulwama attack. These attacks downgraded the diplomatic ties. They led to the suspension of bilateral trade and communication. Could things change in the days ahead? Well, New Delhi is cautiously optimistic. Analysts say that with the Sharifs back in power, Indo-Pak relations could change for the better. But at the same time, India knows that no matter who is in power in Pakistan, it is the Pakistan Army that decides what the country should do. So there is reason to be skeptical. On to India's other neighbor, Sri Lanka. It is an important week for the Rajapaksas. Top Sri Lankan officials are in Washington, D.C. They are trying to secure that much-needed relief package. Back in Colombo, the Rajapaksas are trying to hold on to power amid mounting public anger. Take a look. Yes, the dissent against the Rajapaksas continues to spill onto the streets. The protesters want the Rajapaksas to go. Will the first family of Sri Lanka bend to their demands? No. In fact, the Rajapaksas are doubling down. They appointed a new cabinet today. 17 ministers have been named. None of the new members belong to the Rajapaksa clan, but a number of stalwarts have kept their cabinet positions. 5 members of the previous cabinet have been re-inducted. Most portfolios have been given to members of Rajapaksa's party. So this is not exactly a new cabinet. Also, there is no woman minister. It's an all-male cabinet. Listen in to what President Rajapaksa said today.
There's
an opportunity to discuss in Parliament the views expressed by the various political parties on the required changes in the Constitution and to approve the necessary amendments. I am ready to extend full support to Parliament at any time in this regard.
Now, what do these appointments achieve? Sri Lanka's President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had earlier pitched the image of a unity government. He wanted members of the opposition to take up cabinet positions. The offer was promptly rejected. So Rajapaksa ended up installing members of his own party. A country's leadership should inspire confidence, especially during this time of crisis. This new cabinet fails to do that. In fact, it adds to the political instability. A report has come out. This is from the Sri Lankan press. It seems like Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa was not happy about the new cabinet. He did not attend the swearing-in ceremony today. Why? It turns out the Rajapaksa brothers are at odds. Both had different ideas about what the cabinet should look like. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa wanted younger ministers. His brother, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, preferred experience. He wanted senior parliamentarians in key portfolios. Did Mahinda Rajapaksa not get his way? Well, his absence from the swearing-in ceremony raises a lot of questions. However, the bigger question is about survival. The Rajapaksa government is in minority. Remember, over 40 lawmakers have left their side. Can the Rajapaksa government survive a no-confidence vote? The opposition is not backing down. They still want to bring a no-confidence motion. When will the vote happen? There are no dates yet. Can there be a compromise? There is a possibility. But the Rajapaksas will have to make serious concessions. What does the opposition want? They want the 20th Amendment to be repealed. It was passed 2 years ago by the Rajapaksas. It reduced the powers of the Prime Minister and the Parliament. Essentially, it made the President more powerful. After the 20th Amendment, the President can sack the Prime Minister and his cabinet. He can dissolve the Parliament just 1 year after the election, and the President can do all of this at his discretion. There are no checks and balances. So the opposition wants the 20th Amendment gone. They want the Parliament to take back control. How this week pans out could decide the fate of the Rajapaksas. The pain for the people of Sri Lanka is only growing. Ahead of the meeting with the IMF officials, the prices of fuel were hiked. One of the retailers jacked up the prices by 35% today. Since the beginning of this year, petrol prices in Sri Lanka have increased by 90%. The price of diesel has jumped by 138%. In Washington, Colombo is expected to face some tough questions like how do they plan to manage their debt? Sri Lanka wants up to $4 billion this year. To get that money, Sri Lanka must present a plan to restructure its debt. Colombo wants help from other lenders as well. Sri Lanka is reaching out to the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank as well. The Sri Lankan government wants some more assistance from India. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is expected to meet her Sri Lankan counterpart. Last week, some reports had emerged. They said India is willing to commit another $2 billion in aid to Sri Lanka. The long-term solution, of course, is a bailout plan. Analysts are worried about the political instability in Sri Lanka. It is a clear risk for any lender because without a stable government, Sri Lanka will struggle to find its way out of this financial turmoil. Let's now shift our attention to the West. Riots broke out in Sweden over the weekend. Dozens of people have been arrested after violent clashes between the police and the protesters. What triggered the violence? A far-right politician's claim that he burned a copy of the Quran. Our next report getting you the details.
The air was filled with smoke. Vehicles were set on fire. And police vans were greeted with stones. Since last week, multiple Swedish cities have witnessed such violent clashes. Dozens have been injured, more than 40 people have been arrested. What triggered this? The inflammatory speeches of this man, Rasmus Paludan. He is a Danish-Swedish politician. Paludan's party live-streamed these pictures last week. They show him burning Islam's holy book, the Quran. Paludan has staged such burnings before. He says he will do it again. That statement sparked this fury. It led to protests and counter-protests. The clashes started in cities like Linköping and Norrköping over the weekend. They spread to the city of Malmö. A school there was set alight. Clashes were also reported in Sweden's capital, Stockholm. By Sunday, the cops had become the target of the protesters. Despite the tensions, the police officers didn't revoke permissions to Rasmus Paludan's outfit Stramkurs for holding rallies. The far-right group was established in 2017. It is known for a strong anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant agenda. Stramkurs is trying to drum up support ahead of the general election in September this year. In the 2019 election, Paludan came close to entering the parliament. The growing anxieties over crime and migration gave the group a boost. But in 2020, Paludan was sentenced to 3 months in jail. He was charged with racism and defamation. Sweden's Justice Minister has slammed Paludan for his brand of politics. In an interview, he called him a right-wing extremist fool whose only goal is to drive violence and divisions. However, that criticism wasn't good enough for some Islamic nations. Saudi Arabia has condemned the clashes. Iraq and Iran summoned Swedish ambassadors to register their protest.
It is election season in France. 6 days from now, the French President Emmanuel Macron will be going face-to-face with the far-right candidate Marine Le Pen. A quick recap first. The first round of polling was held on the 10th of April. 14 presidential hopefuls sought the voters' mandate. The top 2 made it to the final round. Come the 24th of April, and Macron will be in direct contest with Marine Le Pen. Marine Le Pen, like most of you know, is the leader of a party called National Rally. She represents the far right, and she is the main character of our story tonight. Marine Le Pen has been accused of embezzlement. You see that headline. In other words, she is accused of misappropriating funds. Whose funds? The European Union's. The EU's anti-fraud office claims that Le Pen embezzled some $148,000. This was during her stint as a lawmaker in the European Parliament. We are talking about 2004 to 2017. Olaf claims that Le Pen used the money for political purposes at home in France. While she did not pay personal bills with the money, it is likely that Le Pen covered staff and event expenses with it. The EU anti-fraud body also claiming that the money could have been used to the benefit of companies close to Le Pen's party. Now, these are some very serious charges, and the timing of all of this could not have been worse for Le Pen. She claims to be running the last presidential race of her career. 5 years back, when Le Pen ran for president, she emerged as the runner-up. But this year, she had a real shot. In the April 10th election, Le Pen won 23.15% of the votes, as against 27.85% won by Emmanuel Macron. In other words, Le Pen was behind by just 4.6%. The days leading up to the grand finale were her chance to bridge the gap. But now the days have been clouded by the embezzlement allegations. It won't be far-fetched to say that the allegations have set her back. Now, we cannot stress more on the timing of it all. Quick question. Is there even the slightest chance that the timing is not a mere coincidence? What I mean is that what if the allegations have been well-timed to target Le Pen's presidential campaign? Now, first things first here, the embezzlement allegations are a part of an Olaf report. The case it is referring to is not new. Investigations into it were opened in 2016. Le Pen was questioned in 2021, and now you have the report. It was published on the 11th of March. The day after the 11th of April, the first round of polls in France, the very next day after that, and right in time for the last leg of the campaign. Again, what are the chances? Now, just for records here, I'm not hinting at anything. I'm doing my job, which encompasses putting all facts on the table. Le Pen's lawyer has slammed Olaf for not sending the final report to her client. Meet Jordan Bardella, the president of Le Pen's party. He has accused the European Union of trying to interfere in the French elections. Bardella told the media that the French public will, quote-unquote, not be fooled by attempts of the European Union and the European institutions to interfere in the presidential campaign and harm Marine Le Pen. The party has also filed complaints against Olaf. Now, Le Pen is not the only one named in this report. There are three others, all close to Le Pen. Jean-Marie, he is Le Pen's father and a former lawmaker from her party. Louis Alliot, Le Pen's former partner. And Bruno Gollnisch, the former vice president of Le Pen's party. They are all accused of being party to the embezzlement. Now, this is not the first time Le Pen has come under the EU radar for the wrong reasons. And this is by no means the first embezzlement allegations have been slapped on Le Pen. She is suspected of giving away fake jobs at the European Parliament. To whom? Her party men. Marine Le Pen was born in August 1968. She holds a degree in criminal law. In 1998, Le Pen joined her father's party, the National Rally. Le Pen was 30. In the course of her career, Le Pen has held various positions at the regional level. She has also served as a parliamentarian at the European Union. Marine Le Pen is a hardliner. If voted to power, she wants to put an end to what she calls uncontrolled immigration, quote-unquote. Le Pen also wants to draw a line between French citizens and immigrants and ban headscarves in the public. Le Pen once had a moniker that loosely translated into the devil's daughter. Now let's come back to the allegations of embezzlement. I'll tell you why they are very critical. You see, quite a sizable portion of the French voters remain undecided. They have not decided who they will vote for on the 24th of April. Among them are supporters of Jean-Luc Mélenchon. He is the left-wing candidate. He was the second runner-up in the April 10th polls. So he missed out on the grand finale. 51% of his supporters are yet to decide between Macron or Le Pen. Now, will the embezzlement headlines help them make a choice? From where I am sitting, the chances look very high. Our next story is from Israel. The country's prime minister is in a fix. He faces challenges on multiple fronts. A coalition partner has threatened to quit. The prime minister is also facing violence on the ground in Jerusalem. These incidents have been dominating headlines as well. Let's first bring you up to speed with what the coalition partners' threat really means. The political challenge, Israel's ruling coalition, is on the brink of collapse. A key coalition partner is threatening to break away. The Islamist Ram Party, or the United Arab List, led by MK Mansour Abbas. It is an Arab political party which represents Israeli Muslims. In the 2021 election, this party won 4 seats in the Israeli parliament. With the fragmented political landscape at that time, these seats gave the party the role of the kingmaker. The power to determine who should form the government, Benjamin Netanyahu or Naftali Bennett, the party's leader sided with Bennett. It helped him form the coalition government. It also became the first Arab party to come to power in decades. A year on, the party does not want to stay in power. It has frozen its membership both in the coalition and the parliament to protest against the ongoing violence in Israel. Now, the party says it is under pressure from its supporters to denounce the Naftali Bennett government for its alleged crackdown on Palestinians, especially for the turmoil at Al-Aqsa over the weekend. We'll get there in a bit. Let's first tell you what this move means. For starters, it has no immediate implications since the parliament is on break till May. So for now, it's only a symbolic blow to the Israeli leader. However, in the longer run, it could prove to be more disastrous. The Bennett government has already lost its majority in the parliament. On the 6th of April, a key member of the coalition resigned. And this brought down the Bennett government's majority to 60 from 61. The opposition in Israel has the same number of seats, that's 60. And this has basically left the parliament in deadlock. Now, if the RAM also insists on breaking away, the coalition government could be on its way out. I'm not the one saying this. Israeli politicians are. Like MK Walid Taha, a member of the RAM party. He says the coalition government is headed for collapse because his party could withdraw its support in the days ahead. And this leaves ample room for the opposition to stake its claim on the top office. To put it simply, Israel could see yet another change of guard in the days ahead. And the reason will be the ongoing communal violence, which is Bennett's challenge number 2. It's been more than 4 weeks since Israel has been gripped by unrest. There have been protests, clashes, murders, even terror attacks. The flashpoint came last Friday. There was violence at the Al-Aqsa Mosque and Temple Mount, the holiest sites for Jews and Muslims located adjacent to each other. Hundreds of Palestinians clashed with the Israeli security forces. Stones were pelted, rubber bullets were fired, even grenades were launched. Over 150 Palestinians were left injured.
שנגיע לרגע הזה ומגיע להם תודה מאיתנו, ואני רוצה להודות לצוות שלי ששוב לא ישן חודש בשביל לוודא שהכל סגור ומתוקתק. לא רק שבנט, כי ככה זה אצל בנט ולפיד, שאם הם יוצאים מהבית בלילה, הם לא צריכים לפחד מהאלימות שהמדינה שלהם יודעת לספק להם ביטחון אישי. עבדו סביב השעון כדי שנגיע לרגע הזה ומגיע להם תודה מאיתנו, ואני רוצה להודות לצוות שלי ששוב לא ישן חודש בשביל לוודא שהכל סגור ומתוקתק.
Now, the question is, what led to the violence? We have been getting you those scenes of unrest, the violent clashes that had broken out, and the larger implications for this, for the Naftali Bennett government as well. Now, this is, of course, not the latest incident. The terror attacks that we have been telling you about also a growing matter of concern. What led to the violence? Coming back to that question, the answer clearly depends on who you ask. Israeli police blaming the Palestinians. It says dozens of masked men marched into the mosque and set off fireworks. Eyewitnesses say Palestinians threw stones at the Israeli forces first. On the other hand, the Palestinians have a different story to tell. They say Israeli forces tried to empty the compound. The police allegedly attacked the mosque staff and the many worshippers who had come to pray.
After people performed Al-Fajr prayers at around 6:50 am, the occupation forces stormed into Al-Aqsa Mosque through the Moroccan gate and assaulted the worshippers who were there, as well as surrounded and attacked Al-Qibli Mosque and fired rubber bullets at the worshippers who were praying inside.
Last we checked, the violence had ended, but there are strong indications that it might resurface, given how Palestinians are accusing Israel of trying to curb their religious freedom. They are complaining about unwarranted restrictions on them during Ramzan. They say the security checks are draconian and stop them from offering prayers on time. Israel says they are meant for security purposes only. It says it's only trying to keep a check on religious processions and stop tempers from escalating. As the war of words continues, warnings are flowing in from Iran, which is Bennett's challenge number 3. You see, Iran recently marked its National Army Day, a day to commemorate its military might. The country displayed its homegrown weapons, also a series of defense systems and aircraft as well. Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi himself led the celebrations and issued a stern warning. He told Israel that if it makes the slightest move against Iran, the country will target the heart of the Jewish state. You must listen to this.
The message for the Zionist regime is that if you are looking to normalize relations with some countries of the region, you should know that even the slightest movement of yours is not hidden from our intelligence, security and armed forces. You should also know that if you make even the slightest move against the Iranian people, rest assured that the target of our armed forces will be the center of the Zionist regime.
What was this warning aimed at? Some say it was aimed at the ongoing violence in Israel. Others say it was aimed at Israel's attempts to stall the nuclear deal talks. Yet others say the reason could be a mix of both. You see, unlike other Arab states, Iran has been a staunch supporter of the Palestinian cause. It does not mince its words in condemning Israel like the other Arab countries. At the same time, Iran has always been at odds with Israel over its opposition to the nuclear talks with the West. Analysts say Iran is looking for reasons to wade into Israel's internal affairs. Reports say the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has promised a new wave of support for the Palestinians, that it has promised to aid their fight against Israel. So where does this leave the Naftali Bennett government? Where does it leave the Israeli Prime Minister? In the grip of uncertainty, to say the least. His forces are clashing with the Palestinians, his allies are threatening to quit, and his enemies are warning of a retaliation. The next few days are going to be crucial for the leader. Let's shift our attention to the COVID-19 pandemic now. New infections rising again in India. Fresh cases have jumped by almost 90%. More than 2,000 new cases were reported today. The last time India recorded these many cases was almost a month ago. 214 fatalities were also reported. The spike in the capital is worrying. Delhi has over 1,500 active patients right now. Today, more than 500 new cases were reported. These numbers are indeed a reason to be concerned. But there is a reason to be worried. Is there a reason to be worried? For the moment, no. There is no major surge in hospitalizations. So that is a good sign. But there is a need to stay vigilant. Outside India, China still remains among the biggest hotspots in the world. The city of Shanghai is still struggling. This wave has been devastating for Shanghai. We all have seen the crowded quarantine centers, the dire conditions in which the patients are being treated. Last week, we saw how the local police tried to violently take over some apartments. Shanghai needs space for more quarantine centers. The locals clashed with the cops to save their homes. The situation is bad. The world knows that. But once again, there is something odd about the Chinese data. Until today, Shanghai claimed 0 people had died from the Wuhan virus. No one believed that. Today, Shanghai officially revealed its Wuhan virus death toll. It claims just 3 people have died so far. Our next report tells you why it's difficult to believe that claim.
Almost a month after the lockdown was imposed, China has finally revealed the casualty count from this wave. Chinese authorities say the Wuhan virus took just 3 lives in Shanghai.
On April 17th, 3 new deaths were reported. All were elderly. At the same time, the cases suffered from acute coronary syndrome, diabetes, hypertension, late effects of cerebral infarction, and other serious underlying diseases. All cases had not been vaccinated against the new COVID-19 virus. After being admitted to the hospital, their conditions worsened and resulted in death after rescue attempts failed. The immediate cause of deaths are the underlying diseases.
Yes, just 3 deaths in total. That statement is a cruel joke on the people of Shanghai, especially the elderly. An outbreak at a large elderly care hospital went unreported. Many patients had contracted the virus. Reports say several bodies were removed from the facility. China now claims these patients died of underlying problems. The fact is, the Wuhan virus is taking lives in more ways than one. Recently, this video came to light. It is believed to be from Shanghai. Allegedly, this woman committed suicide. She was starving inside her apartment, with food supplies hard to come by. This woman plunged to her death. Shanghai is suffering. This is China's worst wave of infection since Wuhan in 2020. It began in March. The lockdown has been in place for 4 weeks, but Chinese authorities have failed to contain the virus. Supply shortages have worsened the situation. A man believed to be a business owner vented his anger against the Communist Party like this.
你知道不知道？你告诉我，超市不开门，我买什么？我吃什么？我喝什么？你把人逼死了！我不多吃，我住不多，我身份证实惠的，我实惠是我父母给你们供了2个月，这2个月他们怎么过的？我的外婆独居老人，没有人照顾。 你把我的孙子，他喝什么？他吃什么？你把人给逼死了！我操你妈！这还是政府是人吗？对着老百姓造反吗？
New infections continue to soar in Shanghai. The city is reporting more than 20,000 new cases almost every day. Chinese health authorities say those numbers are unlikely to come down soon. Until the virus is contained, Shanghai will suffer. And concealing the Wuhan virus death toll will only worsen the suffering.
Shifting focus for now, our next story is about the sun, more specifically about solar flares. Flares that are causing radio blackouts on Earth. This happened on Sunday. A solar flare interfered with short-wave radio communication and caused a blackout in Southeast Asia and parts of Australia. Now, scientists say this incident will not be the last. In fact, they are predicting more solar flares in the days ahead. I'm sure there are a couple of questions on your mind. What exactly are solar flares? How are they created and how do they pose a threat to humans? Our next report telling you all that you need to know.
This Sunday, the sun erupted. It unleashed a solar flare with a spectacular coronal mass ejection, which went on to cause a radio blackout where, over Southeast Asia and parts of Australia. Does this sound complicated to you? Well, don't break your head. Most of humanity doesn't know how this works. You see, the sun is a big ball of gas. A nuclear fusion is underway in its core. 600 million tons of hydrogen is fused into helium every second. Sometimes the fusion goes out of control. There is a sudden explosion of energy caused by a tangling of gases and magnetic lines. This creates a solar flare, the largest explosive event in our solar system. This is exactly what unfolded on Thursday. The sun erupted into a solar flare. The flare, which contains radiation, got hurled towards planet Earth. Once there, it interfered with shortwave radio communication and caused a radio blackout in these areas. Scientists now say this blackout wasn't the last. They say many more are about to follow. One such expert says solar activity is expected to be active over the next week as these sunspots migrate across the visible disk. The latest forecast from the Space Weather Prediction Center comes after the sun erupted, hurling flares towards the inner planet, including Earth. In simple terms, what this means is that there could be more solar flares. Should this worry you personally? Not really. Solar flares aren't harmful to humans, despite the fact that they contain radiation. However, they can disrupt man-made satellites and power grids. For instance, in 1989, a strong solar eruption caused the Canadian province of Quebec to lose power for a total of 9 hours. This time, the solar flare has caused a minor radio blackout. But there's no guarantee if the next solar flare will have the same impact. Scientists say a giant solar flare is inevitable and mankind is completely unprepared.
Let's now take a look at what else made news. Time for Gravitas Global Headlines.
At least 7 people were killed and several injured in Russian strikes in the Ukrainian city of Lviv. The strikes come as Russia intensifies attacks in and around the capital, Kyiv. Amid Moscow's claims that Russian forces had almost completely seized the port city of Mariupol in Ukraine, Ukrainian forces vowed to fight to the end after Russian ultimatum for forces to surrender expired. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a crucial meet with the International Monetary Fund Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva to discuss post-war plans to rebuild Ukraine and maintain financial stability in the country. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is facing new allegations in the Partygate scandal. The leader has now been accused of starting a Downing Street party on November 13, 2020, during which he allegedly poured drinks for his staff and consumed alcohol himself. Backed by surging prices of crude oil and natural gas, India's wholesale price inflation rises to a 4-month high of 14.5% in March. Hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets in the Peruvian capital of Lima to demand justice for a 3-year-old girl who was kidnapped and brutally raped last week. Protesters called for life imprisonment or the death penalty for the perpetrator. A specialized marine diving team has started special operations around the commercial cargo ship that sank off the southern coast of Tunisia to check for any oil leakage. Floods and mudslides in South Africa have killed at least 443 people so far, as rescuers searched for dozens of people still missing in the KwaZulu-Natal province. South Africa deploys 10,000 troops for operations to restore key services and to transport aid. Real Madrid completed a stunning comeback against Sevilla to go 15 points clear at the top of La Liga. The league leaders found themselves 2 goals down early on, but mounted a fierce rally in the second half. Fittingly, it was talisman and top scorer Karim Benzema who scored the winner in the second half stoppage time. Three-time major champion Jordan Spieth clinched the RBC Heritage title at South Carolina for his first PGA Tour win of the season. The American bounced back from a disappointing Masters campaign with a playoff victory against Patrick Cantlay in Hilton Head.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition, leaving you with Gravitas Images. Thanks very much for watching.
States Navy band sea chanters will now honor